I tell my guys all the time, make a mistake because we're all going to learn from it. But if you make a mistake and you try and hide it or cover it up, then it's just a mistake that we're not learning from. And that's not good. So don't be afraid to make the mistake.
Same business, different day.
Good afternoon and welcome back to another episode, a very special episode of the Same Business, Different Day podcast. I'm your host, Zeke Corley, here at the Film Hub in Vista, California, and I'm thrilled to be joined once again by my guest co-host today, co-founder of Frontline Careers, Ty Roberts.
Thank you. Yes. Happy to be here.
I'm glad you're here. I really appreciate you being here always. When I call on you, you come. That's what matters.
Man, I love doing this. I don't know what to say.
Now, today we have the opportunity to hear the phenomenal success story of Ramiro Guerra. Ramiro, welcome to the Same Business, Different Day podcast, man. We really appreciate you being here. Now, I know Ty told you a little bit about how the show flows, and there's a reason why we have it flow that way. You know, the reason why we have it flow that way is because our success stories matter. You know what I'm saying? And it's you know, you see it on social media a lot, right? Where people are just always talking about what they have now. You know, here's where I'm at and here's how good life is. But how did you get there, right? Because there's a lot of people trying to be there. And actually, some of those people aren't as successful as, you know, they claim to be on social media either.
Very
right?
true.
But what's more important is the journey. What's more important is what the path was to getting you to where you are today, because we want to be there as well. And you can help influence people with that, right? That's the special lesson, right? I mean, so I'm sure you grew up around people who, you know, were there or were awesome. Or, yeah, of course, we've seen it on TV. We've seen it everywhere. But now where, you know, how did you get there? And what decisions did you make in those tough times? And so, you know, today we'll talk a little bit about some of the tough times and how we dug ourselves out of it and the decisions that we made to get us to where we are today. And I'm really happy. I'm really happy for you for where you are today.
I love it. I love sharing it.
I love it, man. I appreciate you. Where'd you grow up?
In Vista. Oceanside in Vista.
Really?
Okay.
Yeah. It's been, moved to Vista in 4th grade.
Okay.
So, and then Oceanside before that. And then I spent here in Vista till I was 25 and went off to school.
Okay. So, what was Vista like when you were growing up?
Anybody that knows Vista will know I grew up literally Raintree Park is my backyard. So It was rough.
Okay.
It was very different from where we lived in Oceanside, in Fire Mountain. Mm-hmm. And it was rough. It was, you know, a lot of violence, a lot of gangs, a lot of all that. But then there was a lot of interesting connections and larger family. Back then, you know, you kind of didn't worry about where your kid ran off to.
Oh, okay.
You know, like it was just
community. Even
though it was, yes, very much community growing up. So I had made amazing friends for life that, you know, I still connect with and have got to do a lot of cool stuff. You know, I surfed a lot. So I, you know, first growing up in Oceanside, you know, really close to the beach, surfing. Mm-hmm. When we moved here, it was spent a lot of time on the bus, the 302, going west to the pier and surfing a lot. And that being an outcast in the neighborhood of, there's this surfer kid that's living in the hood with us, but you know, I wouldn't change a thing, man. It was awesome.
I love it.
Yeah.
So growing up here in Vista, do you remember what you wanted to be when you were little? Like, or you were like, I want to be...
No clue. No clue.
Really?
I really had no direction, no drive.
Really?
I was really more focused on like having less less stress in my life. My mom worked 3 jobs, raising 3 boys. Unfortunately, my dad, who recently passed away, he was not involved. Those were his choices, and sending a couple $100 a month for child support for raising 3 boys just doesn't, no matter when it was, is not enough. So mom worked a lot. I grew up from other parents helping support, taking care of us, always giving us a place to go, that kind of thing. But yeah, really just, watching her, she worked at UPS, she worked at restaurant Quail's Inn in San Marcos, and then she'd pick up these like banquet jobs too. And she was never around physically, but she was a great mom.
Sure.
Great mom.
Yeah.
With a work ethic that is, right?
Yeah,
she did what she had to do to take care of her
that's
people.
something that I
right?
learned, and you definitely learn it the hard way, in not having, hey, you want to grow up and be a lawyer, you want to grow up and be, whatever it might be. I didn't have any of those influences. Grew up different type of success. I never saw the monetary success in any of the people growing up around me, but success in family values and love and support, and those successes, which, you don't put for lack of a better term, a face to those till later on in life. And you realize, yeah, I may have been poor as can be, but I was rich in love and support, and you don't realize it until you step away from it and realize, wow, I was really, really fortunate.
Right.
So,
and those things kind of mold you, right? They turn you into, for lack of a better word, a good person.
Well,
with a
they
good work
can, or
ethic.
they can't.
Or sometimes they don't.
I mean, there's
but they
definitely
can.
people that are had glasses half empty kind of, and I used to be that way. I used to blame and hate because I didn't have what the other kids were having and whatnot. But at the end of the day, I decided I didn't want to be that kind of person.
Sure.
And it completely changed my life. 100%.
How old were you when you realized that influence? When you realized how impactful that love was? And
honestly, I was probably maybe 22, 23.
Yeah. That's it's a kind of a common story
that's
here.
the
It's
age
later.
that-
It's later in life.
Yeah.
Not when it's happening, of course. Right. That's the tough time to actually put yourself. Look around yourself and see, hey, this is actually better than I thought. But at the same time, when it's your responsibility now, when you're on your own and you have to do it, then sometimes you pick that up and just go, you know what, things weren't so bad. And I mean, obviously, hopefully you figured out early enough that mom was working really hard for you.
Yeah, definitely. I was I was the very level-headed kid.
Okay.
My little brother was a little more outgoing, a little more wild.
Okay.
Less trouble. My older brother, he went down a whole different dark path that was really, really kind of messed him up. And, but, I was able to learn from his mistakes too.
Mm-hmm.
And, fortunately, he's a phenomenal guy, and
He's bounced back.
He's bounced back, and he has, his own struggles, as we all have our own struggles.
Sure.
But great dad. He raised his boy from I think he was about 3 when his mom got deported, and which was a whole disaster because she was legally allowed to be here, but she didn't check in when she went over the border, and then they wouldn't let her come back.
Wow.
And so it's kind of a really hard lesson to learn, but he raised his boy DJ for 8 years by himself, struggling with his demons and his challenges and his So, he always says, "Oh, I'm so proud of you, bro. I'm so proud of you." I couldn't be more proud of a person that really just, and he doesn't give himself credit, and he doesn't even realize. I'm like, bro, you have no idea what you did. You raised this kid and he's a beautiful boy. Now he's a monster. He's not in a bad way. He's freaking like 6'3" and weighs like 200 pounds, 300 pounds probably, and just gentle giant, just soft as could be, and great hearted, and so
that's awesome.
Yeah,
man. Shout out to the fathers.
Right.
Yeah. Amen. You make a difference in your kids' lives.
That's right. So, other than your brother, were there other influences out there, other mentors, or anybody that you looked up to that you kind of either wanted to be like, or at least admired?
Yeah, my childhood, one of my childhood best friends, Jason Franco, his dad really took a liking to me, and vice versa, and I spent a lot of time with the Francos, and Hector he was just that fatherly figure that I needed, and was relentless in doing the right thing and relentless in working hard. And he was a concrete worker, busted his butt. Guy's just such a great human being. And he made me work. He'd like, oh, you got nothing going on? Cool, you're coming to work with me. And
right.
And
was he much older than you?
Yeah. Hector's ancient. No, I'm just kidding.
He must be still around. He's going to appreciate the job. But that's cool, man.
Yeah.
So he just grabbed you and just said, "Hey, you got nothing else to do. Let's do it."
Yeah, he really, and he was just a very outdoorsy guy. So, a lot of hiking for nowhere. A lot of I can't tell you how many times we've driven down a dirt road and be like, oh, okay, let's just go walk around now.
Listen, look at the naivete. See, Ramiro thinks that you're supposed to hike and have a destination.
It's just to nowhere.
That's what we did.
You just
it's
hike.
just how you hike,
and you come
and
back.
we made
it. Now, go get
We almost didn't make it back one time. We got lost in Ramona.
See? That's why I don't hike.
It was, man, I was scared. But it was.
I hear you. I don't like.
But yeah, we call him Gramps now because he was the grandfather to my daughter. Him and Nana Eleanor, his wife. She nannied for Jillian growing up since she was a little baby. Figure. They were like, "Hey, Jillian's probably gonna be my only grandchild," which didn't turn out to be the case, which is awesome. Alicia had a beautiful boy, Keenan, and they're really tight. But yeah, Nana and Gramps is what they go by, and
that's beautiful.
They are forever, family. Walk through fire for them.
I love that.
I love it. So, but he got you into the construction industry, it sounds like.
Yeah. He.
Okay. Well, no, let me get before that though. Let's talk a little bit about school. Though.
Yeah, because I can't wait to hear about this.
Yeah. Because that was before, right?
You mean my doctorate degree?
Yes, absolutely. I want to hear about your PhD, all your postgraduate work. But you made a decision. So you dropped out of school. I
did.
I know. I want to when and what was the decision? How did you come to that decision? And what was the effect of that decision?
Effects were phenomenal. Mm-hmm. However, I don't recommend it because there's a much easier path.
Okay. Tell us
I like
story.
that. Okay.
Tell us a story.
So,
your business faces risks every day. We at YourInsurancePlace.com are here to help keep your business protected. From general liability, workers' compensation, professional liability, auto, cyber, employment practices liability, your business needs protection. Get information, quotes, and coverage fast and easy. Find us at YourInsurancePlace.com.
Hi, I'm Rachel Belt, President and CEO of the Vista Chamber of Commerce. Over the last 20 years, I've had the privilege of living and working in Vista. And I've met some amazing people with amazing stories. And I'm thrilled to bring them to you as part of Velocity, the Vista Chamber podcast, where I interview the movers, shakers, and change makers impacting the Vista community and beyond. I hope you'll join me as we journey together to hear the stories of the people doing amazing things for our town. Velocity, the Vista Chamber podcast. Find us anywhere you get your podcasts.
I obviously growing up poor, mom working a lot. It got to a point where my brothers were not, they didn't like the lifestyle of they wanted mom home. Now, and I just had this revelation the other day with my mom. You know, my older brother always wanted the leave it to Beaver mom. But that's because he was old enough to remember when that was her role. My dad was in the military. Okay. And so, that was her role. She used to make our clothes. She would cook, everything. And
he missed that.
Yeah, he missed that. I think he was a little resentful towards my mom for that for a lot of years.
He wasn't resentful.
No. So anyways, the life kind of was really going the wrong way for all of us financially. Anyways, still support, still a lot of love, but financially it was
rough. So
my brothers decided to move with my dad, and they both had spent some time with my dad in Yuma. By this point, he was stationed there. He was going to retire there. And so it was just my mom and I, and we struggled. So I took a job bussing tables at a restaurant at night, which led to really late nights. There was no protecting students back then, kind of a thing.
Yep.
So, I was literally bussing tables at a bar, and it was till 2 a.m, and I couldn't get up and go to school.
And how old were you?
I was 15.
Wow.
So
you were too tired to get up.
Too tired. And I had to walk from San Marcos to Rancho, which was, 2.5 miles each way every day to school. So I had to leave really early. It was just so you
just supporting
grades just started dropping, and it came to a point where like, hey, am I ever going to get caught up? I'm not. It's just the writing's on the wall. I'm just not going to get caught up. So do I still try and take this battle on, or do I go to work full time, help my mom, help myself, live, a little bit better life, and not worrying about where we're getting food from, not worrying about how I'm going to replace my shoes, worry about any of that stuff. And so that was the route I took. And I decided, okay, I'm just going to be done with school and start working full time. That led to having to find a full-time job, though, because bussing tables at the bar was not a full-time job.
And that's not going to make ends meet at the end. Like,
it definitely helped.
Right.
But it definitely wasn't gonna. I found myself just kind of sitting around all day doing nothing and not being productive.
Yeah, that part-time work is, I mean, if you're not going to school, you might as well be doing something.
So now I don't think I thought about it that way.
Yeah. You had too much time.
It was like, oh, cool, more time to go surf, more time to go skate, more time. But then, like, wait, I didn't drop out to not go to school. I dropped out because I needed to make more money. So so got a job.
So what was the full-time job?
Sanding cabinets.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
A little cabinet shop up the street from my house. Still there. They're still they moved deeper into San Marcos, but sanding cabinets, and I loved it. The woodworking was fun. Then I really dig.
It's awesome, man, because I need that at my house.
I was going to say, talk about picking up a skill that is super useful.
And I don't paint.
No, I'm not asking you to do it. Find me a nice little 15-year-old. I'm just kidding. I don't violate child labor laws. No, that's cool. Okay, so then you did that for how long, though?
Oh, 11 years.
Oh, really? You were deep in it.
Not sanding, but
but working at this small little cabinet company.
Yeah.
Wow.
And I truly learned a skill that I will match up to any finished carpenter out there. It was awesome.
Yeah.
I really, truly loved that job. It went sideways when I thought that I got offered a superintendent job. And so I was, okay, let me do that. I got the skill set, good with people, good at managing people. And I didn't like it. I didn't like it. I didn't get to put my bags on and do the work anymore. And I don't like this.
Yeah.
I don't want to do this.
Yeah. This is not for me. So
is that when you, go,
Yeah,
jump
no,
you.
no, I'm saying that's a
Yeah.
lesson as well. I mean,
Yeah.
you know, and I guess it's important to say. I mean, we talk about dropping out of school, but at the same time, there are trade schools for a reason,
Right.
and you got that, you know, education hands on.
Yeah. I mean, there'll be a lot of parents that will curse me for saying this, but you know, none of these kids know what they want to do. They haven't done anything.
Mm-hmm.
They have not done anything. How do they know that they want it? My daughter wants to be a jockey. She's ridden a horse. She never raced a horse. Like, come on. So harping on our kids to go to a 4-year college and earn a doctorate or whatever, go to law school, all that stuff. That's fine for us to want that for them. But at the end of the day, how do you know you want to be a lawyer if you've never been a lawyer?
Right.
How
And
do
it
you
may
know
not
you
even be your
want
talent.
to fix people medically if you've never done it? Like,
Right.
you just don't know these things, and you won't until you get out and experience it. And there's so many people that have careers in one thing but do something, have a degree in something else, and it's just so common, but no one puts that together. And I just think parents need to just be supportive. Yeah, you want your kids to, education's great, and I did go back to school and I did get my education, so I'm fully supportive of that. But forcing your kid to go off and struggle to do something that they just don't know if they want to do.
And what you said is earlier too was so poignant. You started at this cabinet company and you loved it,
Yeah.
right? Like you said, so many kids are forced into this funnel. You're going to go be an accountant. And I might absolutely hate what I'm doing, hate everything about it. So this degree that I've worked so hard for, what is it worth if I'm hating every moment of my job? And then you can find something instead that you love to do. That is this amazing skill that you can then take with you for the rest of your life.
And there's so many trade schools now.
That is the important
I
part.
want to go back to school. I want to go and learn refrigeration and HVAC.
Mm-hmm.
It's in my area. It's very sought after and very hard to get your hands on.
That's cool.
And
man.
I love that.
Because why I like that you're saying that it too is because you haven't at all said you don't like to be educated or you don't believe in the education system.
Right.
There are ways to be educated in different things. And so you know specifically what you want to be educated on. I think that what's really important about that conversation also is the age ranges. Now, I mean, I know you're a big proponent of education and as am I. My daughter and I, we're going to senior night tomorrow and we're going to, talk to the UCs about what's needed. But at the same time, she's going to graduate at 17 years old. You know what I'm saying?
She knows what she wants to do.
No, she's got an idea. Yeah, she wants to work in life sciences. She wants to be a veterinarian. Sure. Will that change?
Oh, yeah.
Right.
Yes. And then, like you were mentioning, and like when you get your degree, will you be doing will your career have anything to do with your degree? There is a lower percentage of that.
Often it will not.
Okay.
It will not.
So I do like the conversation, but I do like the caveat, the importance of the conversation saying that you actually believe in education. You're not saying don't go out and be smart, but figure out what it is that you're interested in doing. And that may take some time to find out what that is.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
I love it, man. Yeah. I love that conversation.
Yes.
I appreciate you sharing that, man, because, there are a lot of people out there that drop out and just give up.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Nobody
I didn't get a
me.
degree. Nobody knows what I can't do anything. I'm stuck.
But you know what? There's a lot that aren't that way.
Right.
There's a ton of them. And you know what? A lot of them are too ashamed to admit that they dropped out of school.
Mm-hmm.
Even though they're successful and they've done.
Because there's stigma attached to it.
Yeah.
Right.
But there's a lot of them out there.
Well, that's why I think it's also, again, powerful that you talked about, because there is a stigma around it. And the more we speak about it and the more we dispel that myth, the more we can get rid of that stigma. And we can understand that there are many paths to success. It's not just one.
And for me, there was a fear of finishing. There was a fear of going back to get my GED. You know, I did that at 25, and I think it was 25, and it was like, there's no way I'm gonna be able to do this. I'm not smart enough. I haven't done this in so long. It's just not gonna happen. Man, it was easy. And I beat myself up all the time for not doing it sooner because I was so scared to do it. And I was afraid because I have dyslexia, so I can't spell. My handwriting sucks because I can't spell. And I've figured that out in the recent years that why am I handwriting so? Because I flip flop letters all the time. So if it's just scribble and then
it'll mask. It'll mask.
How do you know it's not spelled right?
It's spelled absolutely right.
I like that.
So yeah, it's definitely for education.
Man, you know, that's why this success story is so fun, man. And so I can't wait till we get to the reveal. We're not there yet though. When did you discover your passion?
That was about 21.
Okay.
21.
Okay.
So I had taken a second job from construction because I lost all my tools and car. Got stolen. I had no tools, no transportation.
Wow.
Boss, super cool. It's like, hey, let's get you back on your feet. We have a shop truck you can use for work. You just show up to the office. You can drive the truck to the job sites. And then they also help me purchase the tools because they're like, we can't pay you what we were paying you when you don't have tools or transportation. And I get it. And it's okay. Yeah. That's fair.
Tools are super important.
Fair.
Yeah.
So I started busting tables again at night to earn money to kind of get back on my feet. And that's where I found it. Was just working both jobs. It just changed everything.
And what was that other job?
I was busting tables.
Yeah. Okay. And what I read at Chili's, right?
Yes. Okay. Chili's and Escondido.
Yeah. And you know, one of the things I started busting tables at the old spaghetti factory.
Okay.
And I've always said, if I could still have a second job today, maybe a fifth job.
Yeah, I was going to say, you might want to add another.
Yeah. I don't count anymore, but still.
Business cards can't be full page,
right.
Okay?
Right.
But if I could, I loved serving tables. I loved working in the restaurant industry. There's, you don't take the stress home with you. Because it's like, that client's gone now. Right. We'll move on to the next one. But also, you got cash in your pocket. Like it's a really good thing. And there's an environment. There's people. There's people laughing and you satisfy them and they're happy and they're tipping you. And then the people you're working with, they're all doing the same thing. It's a cool environment. So, but you can also move up in that industry. And so you started off busting tables, and then what happened? Like, where did you get to with Chili's?
Well, like you said, I was like, man, this is cool. This is fun. I'm enjoying this. Where the social piece, there's not a lot of people that go out to eat that aren't happy. They're going out to eat for a reason. If they're not going out to eat because they're
miserable.
Yeah. So, I want more hours. And they said, well, we can put you in the kitchen if you want. All right, I'll try it. I just want more hours. So I started doing that, and no joke. I don't remember the dates, but that first shift on the grill at Chili's, and back then it was, big fajita place, sold hundreds and hundreds of sizzling platters of fajitas every day. And they threw me in Friday, Saturday nights on the grill. And I'm like, I've never done this before. Now, I had cooked. My mom always had food in the house. It was just nothing you ever throw in the microwave or just add water. It was always scratch cooking. So I really learned how to cook a lot of stuff out of necessity. When Nana and Gramps weren't feeding me. But so, yeah, I was like, this is incredible. The adrenaline, I hate being hot, but the heat, just everything about it was just intense and nothing I'd ever felt before. It was cool. It was cool. It really kind of changed my life. Yeah.
I love that.
That's great. So then you eventually moved up though in positions there as well. You went into the kitchen and
I went to the kitchen, and then I got an opportunity to open restaurants for them.
Open restaurants.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because I didn't have anything else going on.
Mm-hmm.
So I was super flexible. So I joined the training team and opened Foothill Ranch Chili's. You go out for a few weeks, go to a new site, train everyone, set up the restaurant, and you leave and go to the next one. So I did that for a few years, which was super cool.
That's a cool job.
It was a little feral,
Right.
but now I could never do that now. I like my own bed and my own pillow too much.
Right, but when you're younger, it's different, right? You're seeing something new, and you're
was that experience on steroids,
right?
Because it was just so intense, but so rewarding and so much fun. And restaurant chains have changed a lot, but back then it was about the culture, and it was about their concept and their guests, and less about profits, and all that changed at some point with all these corporate restaurants, and it kind of started to ruin it for me. But,
right.
What I really like about that conversation too, bringing it back to education, is that you're now the teacher.
Yeah.
You're the trainer. You're the teacher. And then you turn around and you started teaching at Palomar as well, right?
Yep. I taught culinary arts at Palomar College for almost 2 years.
Yeah.
Wow.
That was so rewarding and cool.
I bet.
I was a little militant. I gotta admit.
You would change a couple of things.
Maybe not be so hard on these
You give them the big speech at the beginning. It's like, if you're not going to like the first day of class, you should drop out now.
Something like that. It was an ROP program, so there's I had adults, and then I had children too, or not children, but young adults.
They're kind of kids still.
Yeah, so it was very rewarding though, and it was fun to just be able to pull in all the things I learned from my career path in the restaurant, and then the training and the opening the restaurants and all that, and kind of bring it all together and teach these kids potentially a trade or skill set that they might enjoy.
Which is huge.
And I made it as real as possible, and that's where I say a little less militant, because it's a real thing. If you're learning to be a window washer and you never leave the first floor washing windows, you don't know what it's like to wash windows completely.
Right.
So so I kind of made it a very much realistic procedure as I could.
I love that. So you're giving them this wealth of knowledge that you've garnered over all these years. You're kind of like, okay, here's what I've learned. I'm gonna take you from the first floor of your window washing. We're gonna go all the way up to the very top.
Yep.
I like that.
So now, at some point, you went to cooking school?
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
Culinary school.
Where'd you go? I'm sorry. There's a difference. Look,
There is a difference.
the military.
Yeah.
Yeah. You saw that?
Yeah,
You saw
straight.
that? I had you. But there is a difference.
Tell me the difference between a chef and a cook.
Right?
Okay, we're not gonna get into that. But no, tell me about the culinary school experience.
So, after with the Chili's and all that, I really was like, this is what I want to do. I want to be a chef. It was very much in the early stages of the whole Food Network thing. So it was a very visible thing on TV and lots of people talking about it. But I really I loved it. I loved creating. I loved the heat. I loved the energy.
You did it out of Oregon, right?
Yeah. So I had to go. And this is how dumb I am. I literally spent like a year of my life trying to work around getting my GED to go to school without having a GED, because I was so petrified of going to do this.
Right.
And I was applying to schools in Canada. Like, I was just everywhere. I don't know, no clue I was going to ever afford this, because my mom never went to school. Dad wasn't around. He didn't go to school either. But so I didn't really know anybody that like gone through the financial aid process. And I'm like, you know what? I'm going to do like everything else and just figure it out. So I'm just going to apply, try and get into a spot and go from there. Well, after a year of trying and getting the same result of, well, you have to have your GED. One of my best friends, Brett, his wife at the time, Erica, she had had the GED. And she's like, it's easy. You got to do it.
You can do it.
Yeah. So unbeknownst to me, she calls me up, says, hey, we're going to lunch. We're going to come pick you up. She takes me to Vista Adult Ed across the street from Vista High School.
Okay.
Pushes me out of the car and says, you're going to sign up right now.
I love that.
And she forced me to do it. So with that, I was able to decide where I wanted to go to school. I am a big snowboarder and I love winter and I love rain. And so I said, I want to go to Portland.
Okay.
So went to Western Culinary Institute in Portland, Oregon, and figured it out.
How many years were you out there?
2 years.
Okay.
So it was a 2-year program. Well, actually, it was an 18-month program. I finished it in 16 months. I got, because of all my restaurant experience, I got to bypass the whole internship part of the program.
That's huge experience.
So, yeah.
There it is.
Yeah. So they let me graduate early. Graduated top of my class. I was top 3 students. No,
I want to hear. There's a story though when it got to the graduation though, your final test. I read about this story. Can you tell that story real quick?
So I have a seafood allergy.
Oh, I understand.
And the final test is we do a lot of what they call basket exams or black box exams, and it's just a box of random food, and you create dishes and
like
a 5-course meal. Exactly,
you
got
seafood, didn't you?
You got seafood,
Of course.
and.
Now, if you didn't pass this test, then what? Then what happened?
No, I just wouldn't have graduated on the top of my class. I would have graduated. But yeah, I was way ahead. But one of the instructors that was judging, like, hey, chef, Ramiro. Hey, if you want a different protein, we'll give you a different protein. I'm like, no, I'm cool. I'm up for it. Let's do this. So work around it, persevere. Aced that.
Wow.
Aced it. Highest final they've ever had to date. And obviously now I'm sure
that's huge.
Just crushed it. And it was a big, someone was very, very proud of.
I bet.
Absolutely love it.
Yeah.
Okay, let's get into the reveal. It's time. Our guest today is the founder, partner, and executive chef of The Lab Collaborative in gorgeous downtown Oceanside. Steps from the water. TLC is a foodie's paradise with food like bone marrow, pork belly, beef cheeks. Sound like beach bar food? No, it doesn't. It's just not beach bar. But that's all right because they also have great burgers and wings. And I'm telling you for sure, great food and everything that we all enjoy. And also, don't sleep on the brunch menu either. All right?
Yeah, I know. It's surprising me.
That's great.
And thank you for the comments because I know you go.
I'm there.
I've been, having lots of.
I ride my bike over there with the family
all the time for years now.
Yes, sir.
And so I take it kindly what your words about the food because it's.
Oh, no doubt, man.
It's from experience. So
that's right.
The restaurant we're going to talk a little bit about. So the Lab Collaborative has a spacious open concept. I'm super excited to see this. A gorgeous kitchen that guests can look right into and a beautiful bar. Why is it called Collaborative? He and his partners are also the owners of an artisan coffee shop, Jet Fuel, not to mention their test kitchen on wheels, their food truck, The Sandbox. And once again, we welcome Chef Ramiro Guerra to the show. Yay! Man, you're making me hungry. Thank you for that.
Now, you were over, when I first met you were over at the Belgian Beaver, which is around the corner from the Film Hub over here. Okay, so tell us a little bit about that experience and then going off onto your own and doing your own thing.
Oh, man, that was... I'm blessed. I live a blessed life. I really do. So thankful.
Cheers to you, man. Cheers to the blessings.
I'm cheersing from y'all from here.
Okay.
Yes.
So
I know you wasn't expecting this type of commercial of another podcast coming in, but whoever you were listening to, they're irrelevant at the moment. What I'm saying right now is we have a brand new podcast that you should stop listening to whoever you listen to in this moment and listen to us at Odd Pairing. It is about adult beverages and
Wait, I'm
Paige.
supposed to tell you about that.
And Paige is going to tell you a little bit
So
more.
it's adult beverages, food, community, culture, and basically anything else we find interesting through the drinking.
Yeah. And as you can see, we've been drinking a lot today because we already did the episode. So at any time, you guys can find us when you finish with this podcast, whoever you're listening to. You can find us at YouTube. You can find us on Spotify and iTunes and anywhere else you get your
Instagram.
podcast stuff. And you can also find us on Instagram, where you will find hilarious memes and some snippets from our show at Odd Pairing Pod. Cheers.
Cheers.
Hi, I'm Jeff Fox, founder of Star Fox Media. We're a digital marketing and video production company that focuses on serving small businesses here in Vista, California. We have the team and all of the equipment necessary to produce, film, edit, and distribute your podcast to as many people as possible. For more information, you can reach out to us via email at info@starfox.media or give us a call at 760-385-3117. Let Star Fox Media help you tell your brand story today.
I spent, after culinary school, I moved back to California with Chili's.
Okay.
So it was the easiest thing while I was going to school is to just go to Chili's and work, because I knew it like
Chili's
the back
are
of my
everywhere,
hand.
right?
So they made me, it's funny because the area director up there I worked with down here years and years ago, and he's like, "What are you doing serving tables? Like, you should be managing this." And I'm going to school. He's like, "Well, if I work around your schedule, will you join our management team?" I'm like, "School's number one. That's why I'm here. That's what I'm doing." And he's like, "I promise you, there will be zero effect on your school." All right, if we can do it, we can do it. So when they opened the Chili's in Ocean, or they were opening the Chili's in Oceanside, they reached out to me and said, "Hey, would you be interested in moving back to California? We're opening a new restaurant in Oceanside." I was like, my wife at the time was like, "Yeah, I can't stand this rain. I want sun. Let's go."
She wasn't a snowboarder.
No,
like you.
no, I would have never left. I would have never
Really?
left.
Okay.
Never. I absolutely loved it up there.
Love it.
But so it came back with Chili's. It literally only opened the restaurant, lasted like 6 months. I'm like, I can't do this. I can't. The culture was different. It wasn't what I wanted to do. I wanted to create my own food and whatnot. So, and then I ended up taking a job at BJ's because I wanted to make more money, and that was where it was. And it was cool. It was fun. It was gnarly though. Super, super busy. Just a food factory. But I lasted 6 years with them. And so one of the team members that worked there was the server, was Thomas Peters, who's the head brewer for Belching Beaver, or main brewer. There's one brewer ahead.
Tom.
Yeah, Big Tom.
Yeah.
So he didn't like me because I was like, "Hey, this is your job. You're gonna do your job. We're paying you to do your job. Do your job." And as all servers do, they fart around. I mean, we all do, you know. But
Sure.
it was my job to make sure one was doing the job. So we were cordial, but he, it's like, "Oh, great, chef's here. We're gonna have to do this. We're gonna have to do extra side work. We're gonna have to." So years later, and I run into him at a party, and he had been gone for a long time. So we're catching up, and he's like, "Hey, I work for Belch Beaver now. We're gonna open a restaurant. Would you come talk to us?" I'm like, "Yeah," but I'm like, "You didn't like
Yeah,
me."
you don't like me.
He
And he's
respected
like,
you though.
"Yeah." And he's like, "Yeah, I didn't like you because you made me do my job. That's what we need." So I said, "Yeah, I'd love to. I don't turn down any opportunity. Doesn't hurt to talk to anybody."
Let's have a conversation.
So he connected me with Ralph, who they already identified was going to be the GM, and whose experience is top notch. And
doubt about it.
man, we made just a killer team.
Yeah.
But Belch and Beaver gave me the freedom and the opportunity to like really hone my craft and really figure out what I want to be as a chef and as a manager and as a restaurateur and even as a dad.
Mm-hmm.
And
That's huge.
they really taught me, you know, quality of life. Their culture is really what I've been trying to get since the old Chili's days when there was a culture there. Family first, have fun, do what you do. If you don't know what you're doing, don't be afraid to make a mistake. And if we make a mistake, we learn from it, and don't be afraid to ask for help, and so on and so forth. So it's funny because Tom, one of the owners, the CEO, he may have spent 5 minutes talking to me. He really was just like, I'm not even going to pretend that I know anything about the restaurant business, anything about food. I know how to eat food, and I know wine, and I know beer, but that's it. So if you guys want to hire him, that's up to you. You guys do what you want to do. And so, of course, let's bring you on board. And so I was able to not have that person above me dictating what I was doing. And
they gave you control.
Yeah, they gave me control. They trusted me. Yeah. They trusted me to do what I do.
So then, but in leaving there though, you went and you just went and build something of your own. Though.
Yeah. So I was groomed. They were grooming me secretly, coming to Belgian Beaver every week and eating food, bringing our owner Mark to the restaurant, and then they're talking to me about, hey, you know, will you consult a menu for us? We want to open a restaurant. Okay, what's your concept? Blah blah blah. So they kind of gave me the concept of having a residence ran kitchen with having revolving chefs, and it's where the lab piece comes in and the collaboration piece comes in. And this is during COVID, and I said, guys, this is not going to work. Like, this is going to be really expensive. This restaurant will never make money, let alone break even if we do this kind of a thing. So we need to kind of reinvent it. We love the name, love the basic concept of it, and hopefully we can get to a point where we can actually go back to that original concept of having resident chefs come in that maybe trying to make a name for themselves, and let them spend some time and have a designated spot on the menu. But we still have to have a static menu that's people know what they're coming in for.
And they may be coming in for
over and over
that,
and over
right?
and over again.
Right. Yeah. So you're creating this concept from the ground up. This is kind of your origin story, right? I'm going to create this amazing restaurant and this concept. And you have your own beer and tequila creations.
Yeah. So we did a collaboration, and that's really, we're just trying to collaborate with everybody. So I kind of like to explain it as we want to be a hospitality lab. We want to work with everybody, even if there's a host out there that has a different concept of what hosting should be. Then we want to talk to you. We want to see what you're bringing to the table. We want, there's no reason that we can't challenge ourselves to do something better. Just because restaurants have been around for a long time, and these celebrity chefs that dictate, hey, this requires this is required. No, I'm sorry. We're serving food and booze. Like, we can do whatever we want.
I love that.
And so we really want to just be that lab of doing whatever we want. We're the only ones saying no and holding ourselves back from trying new things.
I love it, man.
So,
it's funny to me. I shouldn't even say funny. I mean, really, this is the only place. There's a lot of things. I'm from the Bay Area. I'm from Northern California. And this is the only place where I've seen a lot of things for the first time. And one of those is this collab concept. Like, I've never actually experienced that. I know there's one off the 78 where there's the breweries and the wine and all that stuff. And I know there's another thing popping up somewhere in Oceanside too. I saw it coming off the freeway. But what does that come from? Like, I mean, I guess you're kind of giving it to me. You're explaining, your passion behind what you do. But it kind of really, to me, also really makes sense, especially after COVID. Like, not everybody can just afford this big lease and, have their own place and everything. Why don't we all go in together and and kind of work together and have an experience for guests to come in and really bounce around and see different things too. But can you explain to me a little bit more about the collaborative efforts and the collaborative concept from you?
Yeah, it really just comes from us knowing our management team, our group has got, 100+ years of experience, and we know so many people in the industry doing it. And, what's funner, hanging out watching football by yourself or hanging out watching football with one of your friends?
Easy friends.
Right?
Yeah.
So why not start working with our friends in some capacity to create cool things and bounce stuff off of each other.
Yeah.
And
keep things new.
And North County dining is on fire.
Right.
I love
And we have some of the best chefs around. And especially in Oceanside, our culture in the chef's culture is we're all friends. We all build off of each other. We all work together. We all talk daily. And it's super unique because we're all supportive of each other. So it's not competition, it's camaraderie. And
which is how you all really can be successful.
That is
right?
100% how we do it.
Yeah, I love it, man.
And
That's that beach life.
That's
really.
what it is. Makes you a little happier when you live near water. But it's also this lovely idea, like you said, you're pulling from everywhere, right? So if someone, like you said, knows how to do hostessing, they want to do something different with it. I'm gonna find out what your ideas are, right? And so you're building something new out of all these existing pieces, which is it's just really dope.
We're not trying to rewrite the Bible,
Right.
but it is.
It's like a remix.
Yeah.
All right, let's rapid fire some stuff, okay?
All right.
Well, I want to just hear what comes to your head on these things. And I spoke to my buddy Josh over there from Gospel Fever earlier, and so he did talk about you being a contractor. He talked about the way that you construct things and your style. So tell me a little bit quickly about the restaurant and bar design that you created over at the Lab Collaborative.
Well, I didn't do all the creation. I did I'm the one with the experience in construction. Our owner, Mark, owns a electrical company too. So between the two of us, so they already had an idea in their head what they wanted to see by the time I came in. I just made it more user friendly. Yeah. So as a construction guy, we know that architects and builders don't always see eye to eye. And there's a reason for that, is because drawing something on paper doesn't always mean it's going to work out physically. So I was able to help design the restaurant to make it a little more user friendly. I really pride myself on efficiency. I really pride myself on making something efficient as can be and speeding up the whole process and work smarter, not harder kind of a thing. So I got to get in and do all that and change a lot. And, they had already hired an architect. They already hired someone to design the kitchen. And I kind of scratched the design of the kitchen in a way and started changing it to what we wanted to do there. And
I love that.
What
had
about
to
being
be
able
really
to look into the kitchen? Don't you feel comfortable when you can?
Man, when I can see someone making my food, we make eye contact.
Yeah. I mean, and the kitchen is really like someone's mansion kitchen, just bigger. Marble.
He said just big.
Oh,
look, he's
wow.
awesome.
Oh, man.
So we have marble countertops, no shelving, marble backsplash. Everything's completely
gorgeous.
see-through, so you can see everything that's going on. And definitely some design stuff changed next time. I'm sure Josh mentioned I'm short, and my counters might be a little too high, maybe.
Just a wee bit.
So I did want high counters.
He might have mentioned your height. But Josh is
a freaky ogre of a guy.
Yeah. That's great.
But yeah, counters are really tall because my back is always hurting. And so I did a remodel for a good friend of mine, and he had back problems and he wanted high counters in his bathroom and his kitchen. And I was like, okay, that's weird.
Mhm.
I had to build all the cabinets because they don't make them that high, do all that. And as I'm finishing it all, I'm like, this is like really comfortable.
Mm.
So I'm like, forever will I want to raise counters. But I didn't factor in the depth. So it's an island.
Right.
Oh, okay.
And so for my guys, which are also very short, I am not the shortest one in the restaurant, I'm happy to say. So between the two of us handing plates across the pass out, it could get
A little bit of a reach.
Yeah, a little bit of a stretch.
All right. So what about a little bit about food truck culture? Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, the food truck came up with the delays in building and supply chain. And so by the time they hired me on, they thought things were flowing. Basically, once they found the space and they signed the lease, they hired me on. And it got to a point where there's a lot of downtime waiting for equipment, waiting for contractors. And so they said, well, maybe we should get a food truck and start doing pop-ups, and you can start playing with food. All right, let's do it. So we did that. I was able to test some menu stuff out. It's not the same, but it's not an accurate way of testing like complete composed dishes, but it is an accurate way of testing methods and whatnot. So we went down, found a truck. It was definitely a good marketing tool.
It's great. And as an avid eater, I appreciate food trucks. I consider myself an expert eater, and I love a good food truck.
So the food truck's for sale now.
Oh, that's okay. That's okay.
What we've figured out is that it's still, even though we are just fine staffing wise, it's pulls a lot of resources.
Right. And
when we're super busy and we have guaranteed sales in the restaurant, we don't want to pull our resources from the restaurant.
Makes perfect sense.
And you're pulling key people out of the restaurant to go on the truck. You're not just sending someone you just hired last week to take your food truck out.
Somebody to operate the business and represent properly.
Over the summer, we realized like this is not a good idea. We need to either find like a staff for the truck that can really excel at it. But then we were having a lot of problems with the health department too. They're on their own schedule.
Right.
So getting through plan check and getting them to inspect the truck is like no joke. We've been on a waiting list for months and months and a year now probably. There's no sense of urgency for it. I get it.
I've heard it's a tough business, but at the same time, I mean, especially coming from Oregon too, I've heard that there's a big culture of it up there. Yeah. But I talked to somebody this morning who said that they saw the truck over at a brewery or something and had some good food.
Yeah.
So they're familiar with you, and like you said, it's good marketing.
It's great buzz.
Get your name out there.
It's great buzz. Yeah.
Okay, another one, rapid fire, cooking shows. What you mentioned them earlier. So what are your thoughts? Do you watch any of them? Or any of them that you recommend?
I don't watch too many of them nowadays, but I can tell you which one really got me passionate about cooking was a show called Grillin' and Chillin'.
Okay.
And it was Bobby Flay.
Oh, yeah.
And I forgot the other chef's name. Real like Southern country style chef. Super quirky, funny, but these guys just cook everything outside and do it all, and it was great. I'm sure you could YouTube the shows, but it was fun. Yeah. It was, so and then I do enjoy like diners, drive-ins, and dives because I love to see all these what these people are doing, and like again,
there's some fun stuff out there, right?
There is.
There's funny. I'm not a big fan of that show necessarily, but at the same time, I love what buzz that it gets created after they have been on the show.
Yeah,
because I've seen lines down blocks after he's going to visit diners. I think it's just him that I'm not a big fan of, but the actual restaurants that he visits and everything, I think it's pretty cool, and it's great what he's doing for those restaurants as well.
Yeah.
Awesome.
And it's cool to bring it up to light. Like there's so many, I watch it, I've been doing this for 25 years, and to watch a show and see someone's method of doing something different after this many years is kind of cool.
Right.
And you're like, wow, I would have never thought about doing it like that.
Right.
And then
That's the thing.
Yeah.
It's the neatest.
It's the art.
Yes.
It is.
Oh, absolutely.
It is.
I'm a fan of cooking shows also. I already mentioned I was a fan of eating. So here we go. I'm a fan of cooking shows.
You're an expert.
I'm an
eater.
expert. I love the cooking
They
shows.
just make it look really easy, and it's not really as easy as they do.
It's not the same. It's not.
So I was one of the finalists on the second season of Hell's Kitchen.
Oh.
And not on the show, but the finalists in the casting.
Oh, okay.
And it was very disheartening to see how it all works.
Yeah, reality TV is not.
It's very scripted.
Right. It's really scripted. It's not at all what the finished product looks like,
And they
which
edited
is sad,
funny
and it's
too. They
highly
make it look
edited.
bad. Yeah.
So apparently it wasn't dramatic enough.
Right.
But I took my job serious, and I don't like drama, so I didn't want any part of that.
Okay.
That's one thing that's different about our restaurant than a lot of restaurants is we squash drama.
That's right.
It's not allowed in the restaurant.
Okay. Well, you're welcome on the show anytime. 'Cause we're not in the drama either.
All right.
Just some good wine.
Yep.
Yeah, that's right.
And good food.
Elias, I got an idea. We're going to do a podcast. It's called Industry Insights.
That's what everybody's doing these days, like a podcast. But who are we going to target? What?
Well, this one is different because this one's going to target content creators.
Content creators? So that means film, television, animators, AI artists, everything, huh?
Yeah, all of them. We can inspire all of them. We'll bring some high caliber people in here. Not only will they learn how to get into the industry, but how to be successful.
But the thing is, a sponsorship. We had to go after things, and how we're going to do that?
Yeah, the Film Hub. We're going to sponsor it. We'll do it right here at the Film Hub in downtown Vista. Yeah, we'll sponsor it too.
Great.
Yeah, we got the podcast studio right here. We got stages, whatever you want to use. We got it here. And right here in film-friendly Vista. Where else would you do it? And you know where they can listen to it?
Where?
Go YouTube, Spotify, iTunes, Apple Podcast.
What about Metaverse?
Meta what?
San Diego beer lovers, come join us on the Pioneer Beer Trail, a free, narrated tour of 4 of Vista's iconic craft brewers, all from the convenience of your phone. Simply download the free show at vistamadetours.com or find Vista Made Tours on your favorite podcast provider like Spotify or iTunes. Then fire up the show and you'll hear fascinating backstories, beer favorites, and food recommendations from the brewers themselves as you travel from spot to spot. It's free, fun, and the easiest way to learn about some of Vista's originals, including Booze Brothers, Belching Beaver 980, Aztec, and 5 Suits. So come travel the Pioneer Beer Trail at vistamadetours.com or from wherever you find your podcasts.
So cooking for health consciousness, let's talk about that, and cooking for foodies. How do you balance, like, we want to be healthy, but also the foodies love.
I mean, you're the chef, man. Tell us how
foodies love.
how tough that is.
I honestly don't focus at all about cooking healthy.
Mm-hmm.
That being said, I am very big proponent of wholesome cooking. So we scratch cook. I like clean labels, clean ingredients. That's what I go for. And with that comes a lot of health benefits.
Right.
So I don't necessarily focus on I did a keto menu when we were at Belching Beaver, and it was successful and people liked it, but I'm not a huge fan of diets in general. I think diets are frankly, a scheme.
Mm-hmm.
When
My dad told me this last night.
the real deal
He's not wrong.
is portion control and
eating clean.
Yeah,
I mean, you can eat clean and eat good food.
Yeah, because I can go on a keto diet and eat nothing but bacon, and guess what's going to happen to the rest of my body? I may lose some weight, but
your cholesterol is going to be through the roof.
Yeah.
So I don't really put a lot of stock into diet fads and whatnot. And even though we do get a lot of people asking, hey, what about this? What about that? Even the gluten-free thing is, I know people are affected by it, but they're blaming the wrong thing. They're blaming the gluten, and it's not It's not the gluten. The gluten's a protein that comes from flour, from mixing flour. But people that have gluten issues and they go to like Europe, where they're still doing it old school, they're still trimming just the bud off of the wheat and they're milling that. We're not doing that here. We're cutting down to the dirt and milling all this. So we're using different wheat, GMO'd wheat, all that stuff. And that's the culprit. It's not the flour. Don't blame the flour. Don't blame the carbs for your gluten intolerance. It's the rest of it that's really doing it. And there's studies that are starting to come out now like, hey, because I'm sorry, America, but there's no way that 50% of you overnight are gluten intolerant. It doesn't happen.
Right.
So
it never existed, and now
let's not settle for what the doctor says, and let's really do our own homework and our due diligence and figure out what the real problem is. And we all have, physical issues and a lot of food allergies and whatnot, but it's not because of the food. It's because of how we're manufacturing it and how we're growing it and how we're transporting it and how we're preserving it. And, so we didn't have any of these problems, many, many years ago. And that's why I really do like the scratch cooking part.
I love that.
Yeah. It's just controlling what you're putting in your food.
And you know exactly what everybody's eating. I know what you're eating because it's from scratch.
Yeah.
Love it. Got to get over to the lab.
I'm ready.
I do
dropping knowledge.
I do, and I won't put it on the menu either. The gluten issues. I have some allergy chart for my servers to know what kind of allergies. But there's a difference between allergies and sensitivity
or intolerance, right?
Yeah, and I think the American public really needs to know that when they go out to eat. It's like, am I sensitive or am I allergic? Because when you tell me an allergy, I'm freaking out. I'm like, wait a second, I can't do that. I can't scrub my whole kitchen to make one dish for you because you say you're allergic to onions.
Right.
Onions are everywhere and garlic's and everything and flour everywhere. We make breads and biscuits and stuff's everywhere. So people need to just kind of understand that piece of it when they go out and eat. Like, hey, okay, I just don't like, guess what? I don't like onions either. But when I cook them, they're good. And when they're balanced with the rest of the stuff, it's good. But you ever see me eat a Whopper, I'm going to pull those onions out.
That sounds like me.
Because I don't like them.
Right.
I'm but not you allergic, grill those, but I don't love
and
how they taste. I'm all about it if they're cooked.
I like that. I like that.
So
that's hilarious. Okay. There are folks out there that want to be where you are today, that have, always, they found their passion early on and they wanted to. And speaking of passion, and speaking of collaboration, I want to give a shout out to Stephanie as well, because she's also throwing me questions for you today. So some of those questions came from Stephanie and some came from Josh, but shout out to both of them, okay? But I just wanted you to give some good advice to people who are trying to get where you are, right? Going through culinary school, who are, or just a busser, somewhere who wants to make it in the industry and open up their own place one day, right there by the pier or on the coast or anywhere in the world. Do you have any advice, any thoughts, any thing that you can give them, any knowledge and jewels?
I think that you work hard at everything you do. If you are trained one way and you know what the end product's supposed to be, then that's what you're looking for. Don't look for shortcuts. Don't try and work around the system. Choose your battles, really, and give it your all to give it the end product. I think I'm a very different manager and than a lot of restaurant managers, but I tell my guys all the time, make a mistake, because we're all going to learn from it. But if you make a mistake and you try and hide it or cover it up, then it's just a mistake that we're not learning from, and that's not good. So don't be afraid to make the mistake.
It's growth mindset is what it is.
I think that you have to be open-minded on everything, and you have to really throw the instruction manual out the window and do what's best for you And hopefully if you're working for someone that's appreciates you and can see that and gives you the opportunity to kind of grow and do more. But, you know, as far as the chef world, I can't tell you how many, you know, this goes back to the education thing. I can't tell you how many chefs that I graduated with. My class was like 90 chefs, and maybe like 20 of them are still chefs.
Wow.
I tell my guys, I have a handful of guys that just want to come in and work and do what they're told and bust their butts, and they're reliable and they do a great job. But you ask them to create something, they're going to be like, yeah, I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
And which is great. I love it. These guys are phenomenal. And then I have a few people that really want to be chefs in the industry, or really want to own their own restaurants, or really want to create cool food. And those people, I tell them day in and day out, don't watch me. Don't learn from me. Learn from Ivan, who's my kitchen manager. Mm-hmm. Learn what he's doing, because the longevity in this business is operating, not cooking. Mm. Anybody can put together something good with enough direction and enough YouTube videos. Mm-hmm. But to make it a long-lasting career out of it, you got to learn how to operate a restaurant and manage people and build a team and manage the dollar signs of the whole business. And a lot of chefs don't want to do that. A lot of chefs just want to make cool food and throw it on the menu, sell it as a special, blah, blah, blah. I hardly even do specials because my servers don't sell that many. Mm-hmm. So it's just wasted money.
Right.
That's a whole other thing to work on. And I do have, sometimes I'm like, well, I got to test this product. So mm-hmm. I got to create something, throw it out there. But thank God for social media and whatnot. But, you know, if it's not in writing, it's really hard. Some of these servers get so busy dealing with crazy allergy requests and whatnot, right, that it's really hard for them. So I get it, but it's operating. Be an operator. If you can be an operator and a good operator, you'll be successful. Go far. But if you just want to play with food, then that's something to do at home.
I like that.
I respect that. All right, business lesson of the day from Chef Ramiro Guerra. He says, make the mistake so we can all learn from it. Mm-hmm. Don't be afraid to make the mistake so we can all learn from it. And if you make the mistake and we don't learn from it, then it's just a mistake. I love it, man.
Yeah.
Appreciate you breaking it down, man. Yeah. Thank you, really, for being here with us today.
Thank you for having me. It's awesome.
This was a blast.
Yeah,
man.
Good
so
time.
Absolutely.
Next time we got to do it from the restaurant.
I'm with it.
I support that. I would like to co-host that. But if you'd like to reach out to Ramiro, you can find him on the Lab Collaborative at TLC Side on Instagram and Facebook. If nothing else, stop by daily from 11 a.m. to 10 p.m. with happy hour Monday through Friday, 3 to 6. Stop by for coffee at Jet Fuel from 7 a.m. to 2 p.m. and find the food truck for a little bit. Okay. Don't look for the food.
Retired.
It's retired. But make sure and go visit. Make sure.
Yes, absolutely. Get down there. I mean, it's beautiful over there. It's right there on the coast, man. It's great vibes. I mean, it's beach vibes, man. I mean, what are you going to do?
It really is a great spot.
Yeah, man. And the people are awesome. They're always happy. And we were just talking about frontline people, man. The frontline folks over there are amazing. They were really happy to work for you. And that's a great thing to see, because Ty and I talk about that all the time. So a big thanks to you, Ty, my co-host, the co-founder of Frontline Careers. And I want to share a quote that Ty gave on a recent panel event. She said, if there is one topic we need to talk about, it's the myth of unskilled labor. If there was such a thing, we would be able to work any job, any position without training. I and all of you in the audience consider ourselves to be smart people, but if you put me inside of a bottling plant and told me to run the machines, I wouldn't have a clue where to begin. All labor is skilled. All labor has value, and all types of labor should be celebrated. I think that really kind of ties up this whole conversation. I think it's really awesome. So I really appreciate that, and I really appreciate you and Frontline Careers and all that. You guys can reach out to her on IG at Frontline Careers And thank you again to our guest, Ramiro Guerra. Please like and subscribe and comment on Apple, Spotify, YouTube, wherever you get your podcast, and reach out to us on @SameBizPod, SameBizPod, and at A Different Day Radio. I want to thank you all of our listeners, all of our supporters. We love you. We appreciate you. Peace.
Cheers. Thanks.
Cheers.